Hello，你好，新年快乐，Happy New Year. Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger on February 17, 2021. I don't know how many of you celebrated Chinese New Year, but if you did, hopefully you guys have had a good one. Now, some of you may think, why are we still on this topic? Isn't it over already? Well, not quite. You see, unlike traditional Western New Year, Chinese New Year is observed uh, over a period of uh, 15 days, generally speaking, 15 days. And some of these days have special things that you do or don't do, uh, depending on the date, the tradition, the religion you are from. So it's not like a 1 day deal. It's not like today's New Year and tomorrow everything over and done with. No, it is a very long running celebration with a lot of traditions. Now, I'll be honest, prior to making this video, I have forgotten most of the details on which day is for doing what during the Chinese New Year celebration. It's been a long, long time since I've had people around me to celebrate with. So I really had no idea. But this is uh, an example of what wisdom is. I don't know who said this, but I heard it said that wisdom is to know when you don't have sufficient information and then find a way to obtain such information. So, just so I can appear to know what I'm talking about, I made a few phone calls to some of the older relatives in Taiwan and friends in Taiwan, and I'm going to depart unto you or impart unto you uh, what they told me over the phone as what this whole celebration is about and which day is for doing what. Keep in mind, a lot of these are old traditions. A lot of people today, especially younger people, may not be observing these forms and ceremonies. But this is how it has always been done for thousands and thousands of years throughout Chinese history. Technically speaking, Chinese New Year, the preparation starts about a week prior to Chinese New Year. But that goes without saying. That's pretty much the same for any big holiday like Christmas and Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Easter, stuff like that. So a week before Chinese New Year, one of the things people will do is they'll do a big house cleaning. That is the first, uh, technically speaking, year's end house cleaning, the biggest house cleaning event. You would do nothing but spend all day cleaning the house. Reason is you want to sweep out all the bad luck, you want to throw out all the bad things, useless things, junk, garbage, bad things in your house, so you can make room for good fortune and good luck and, well, new things. Of course, there's a lot of decoration, shopping for new clothes. Why do you need new clothes? Because people need to wear red clothes during Chinese New Year celebration to bring good luck. And there's actually another reason why people wear red during Chinese New Year. We'll get to that in a little while. So you buy new clothes, you buy a lot of food because there's going to be relatives and friends dropping by. You need to make sure you have food. Uh, so there's a lot of preparation. Traditionally, this is also the time when some people will either do it themselves or they'll hire someone to write uh, a couple of poetry or rhymes uh, to put on top of their doorway. So sometimes you'll see that when you go to Chinese household during Chinese New Year. You'll see that on top of their door, they'll have this like wooden plaque, and it will have uh, a rhyme on the right side, a rhyme on the left side. Both sides have to be like the same amount of words, the same format. The line number have to be the same. They have to be even. And then underneath, there's a one single quote. Okay. Now, what's said on these plaques is different for the most part, but it's always about good luck, good health, making a lot of money, and stuff like that. It's some well-meaning poem, poems or rhymes. People who are really good at writing these, they can do it themselves. But a lot of people will hire someone who's trained to do this to do it. Another thing people will do is they will go get a portrait of the door god. What are door gods? There are a couple of holy warriors. You've probably seen them on people's doors before, Chinese people's doors before. There are a couple of imposing looking godly warriors that people put their portrait on their door. And this is to guard the door from evil spirits. So only good spirit, only good fortune will come in. One of the things that people believe in doing during Chinese New Year, at least in the old days, nowadays people don't do it as much. But nowadays you have to worry about bad people more than you do have to worry about bad spirits. But in the old days, a lot of time during Chinese New Year, people will leave their door open almost all day long. This is to encourage good fortune, good luck, good spirit from coming through your house. And then you put the image of the door gods or the guardians on your door so the bad spirit will stay away. On New Year's Eve, so this year it would be February 11. We already talked about the New Year's Eve feast, so that is basically the big thing. It's a big family get together, uh, and everyone come home to eat together on New Year's Eve, and it's an all day meal preparation. A lot of dishes, a lot of meals, very specific dishes have to appear on the New Year's Eve table. The seating, where who sits where, have to be very, very specific. We talked about a lot of that in the previous episode, so we won't retread that. Next day, first day of the New Year, Chinese New Year, in this year would be February 12th. That's the big celebration. The dragon and lion dances, a lot of drumming, a lot of music, a lot of dancing, people performing in the street, people set up firework all day long, and you put on your new red clothes and you go walk around wishing everyone Happy New Year, just having a general good time. It's a great day of celebration. Now, why the red clothes? Why the noisy celebration? Why the lion and dragon dances and a lot of drumming, banging and singing, and then why the fireworks? Is it just for fun? Well, nowadays it is, but traditionally, all these started because we wanted to keep away a great monster called Nian, Nian, which is a Mandarin for New Year. I've told this story on a Johnny Tiger Experience podcast before, so I won't go into all the details. Long story short, long time ago, in a primeval day, like thousands and thousands, maybe 10,000 years ago, when Chinese people first started uh, banding together in villages and forming towns and cities, there used to be this giant monster, like Chinese version of Godzilla, if you will, or King Kong, if you will. This giant monster that would come out from the ocean once every year, always on the first day of the year. And this giant monster would roam over the land and destroy towns and villages and kill people and cause a lot of damage. And of course, because back then there's no sufficient weapon or technology to deal with something that big. Well, I mean, nowadays we still don't. But anyway, the Chinese people turned to praying to the god for a solution. Finally, one of the gods told Chinese people that the monster Nian was unkillable, was unstoppable. But Nian had his weaknesses. He was afraid of the red color. He was afraid of loud, explosive noises. So if you wanted Nian to stay away, then you have to dress up in red and you have to make as much noise as you can during Chinese New Year. So that started the Chinese New Year celebration. The banging on drums, the setting of fireworks, the coloring everything in red, all as an attempt to keep away this Chinese Godzilla. That is at least the uh, very, very original story regarding Chinese New Year. So anyway, believe in it or not, uh, it's still a good story, and this first day of Chinese New Year is a great day of celebration. Day two of Chinese New Year is when married women, get to go home to see their parents. Now that sounds like a crazy kind of uh, uh, limitation nowadays. Of course, nowadays you can go back home whenever you like. But you got to remember, back then, 5,000 years ago, when Chinese New Year first started, it was very uncommon for married women to go back to see their parents. The only time they would go back is either they got thrown out of the house by their husband, they had nowhere to go, or their parents were sick and they needed to go back to take care of them. But for the most part, most women, after they were married, it's like they were exiled, they were banished from their own original family. Even their own parents would tell them, don't come home unless you absolutely have to, because it's a disgrace for you to keep coming back to your own home. People will think that you are not loyal to your husband. People will think that your husband doesn't love you. Also, back then, traveling was a big deal. You Nowadays we can just hop on the bus or jump in the car, and an hour later we can see our parents. But back then, it might be like a month or 2 months of travel on very dangerous road, having to survive bandits and robbers and highwaymen and natural disasters and stuff like that. So people decided that it would be prudent to make a special day for women to go home uh, and see their parents at least once a year. And they made that the second day of Chinese New Year. So on the second day of the Chinese New Year, I still remember that when I was little, my mom would put me in the car, and she and I would drive a 3 hour way home to uh, my grandma's house. back on the farm, and we would spend the rest of the day there with my grandma and grandpa. From the third day of Chinese New Year to the seventh day, this is a very open visitation. So you want to visit as many of your family as you can during the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. So people are usually traveling all over the place uh, on these days. Uh, some relatives will get seriously offended if you don't at least drop in to say hi during this time. This is the time to reconnect and to visit other people's home and to spend time uh, enjoying each other's hospitality. And of course, for children, this is a great time because we get to meet a lot of elders and relatives and we get to collect a lot of lucky money. When I was little, uh, Chinese New Year was very lucrative. Every Chinese New Year, I had the potential of gathering about 20, $30,000 worth of lucky money. That was in Taiwanese dollar, of course. Translate to Canadian dollar, that would be about $2,000 Canadian worth of lucky money every Chinese New Year. So, needless to say, I enjoyed the heck out of this Chinese New Year celebration because it was a great time for me to get some pocket money. Unfortunately, a lot of those lucky money got swindled out of me by my parents. My parents, they were sneaky. They were really sneaky. They always said to me, they said, "Hey, that's a lot of money for a kid, and you don't have a bank account. How about let us hold on to it? And if you want to buy something, just come and see us, and your money is safe with us." And I got tricked into that so many times until I was old enough to say no. Every single time they did that, I would hand over the 20, $30,000 Taiwanese, and then maybe 6 or 7 months later, I suddenly come across this video game I wanted or action figure I wanted. I said, Mom, I want $1,000. And my mom said, What for? What for? And I said, there's this new Batman action figure I really want. My mom said, No, you can't have it. I would say, What do you mean I can't have it? I gave you $30,000. I just want 1,000 back. My mom said, Oh, that. Oh, you already used that up by for your meals and your staying in our house and for your school supplies. That was such an underhanded trick. Anyway, anyway, personal trauma aside, the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh days of Chinese New Year, great time for children. Get to see a lot of relatives, get a lot of candies, a lot of gifts, and a lot of lucky money. On the third day of Chinese New Year is also the day to visit the cemetery to pay respect to the deceased and put some flower on their tombstone. Also, for a lot of people, this is the day for your first New Year Day house cleaning because it is discouraged to clean house on the first day and the second day. It is believed that if you clean house on the first day and second day, you may throw out some of these good fortune and good luck that are coming in from outside. So you want to leave things alone on the first day and the second day. If you want to do any cleaning, want to do on the third day. On the eighth day of Chinese New Year is when people go back to work, when businesses reopen, because number eight is the most uh, wealth related number in Chinese belief. Chinese belief that number eight means wealth and richness. So they want to open their business on the eighth day to cash in on some of that really good fortune and good luck and all the wealth that the new year is going to bring in. So businesses reopen on the eighth day of Chinese New Year. And then things go back to being very quiet until the 15th day of Chinese New Year, which is the last day of this important celebration. The 15th day of Chinese New Year is called the Lantern Ceremony. People buy and make these beautiful, beautiful paper lanterns. Uh, they have different shapes. They might be animals or uh, uh, replicas of comic book action figure characters, and they might be uh, different artistic designs or portraits of gods and goddesses, and there's millions and millions of these lanterns. People will cast them out and to let them float on the wind in the sky like hot air balloons, or let them go on the water drifting in lakes and river and ocean, and everywhere you look, it's just this big, colorful, multicolored uh, sea of paper lanterns drifting, floating away, and this is your farewell to the old year. This is your letting go. You're letting go of the old year, you're letting go of the old things, and you let the new year, you let your new beginning know that now you're ready to move on. Thank you for checking out today's Wisdom Wednesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Toy Thursday. For now, have a good one and 再见.